Hey, good morning. Okay, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, or good night, actually. Um, so I want to talk to you guys about Qatar, the Qatari country, which is right on the end of Saudi Arabia. I kind of want to bring y'all up to speed on what's really going on. So, um, oh boy, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so I'm married to a man that worked for the Ministry of Defense for 30 years, and he's trapped over there. And the reason he's trapped over there is because of the royal family. They're very dirty birds, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to try to explain things the best way I can so everybody understands. So my husband's working for a company that the royal brothers are the backers on. And that company dealt with vetting of companies that are in the bidding processes and setting up command posts and various governmental type things for their government over there, the QAF, which is the Qatari Armed Forces. So anyway, so let me explain to you how I think they fund terrorism, even from a government level. I have no proof that they gave the money to terrorists from the things that they did, but I'm pretty sure they wanted to hide it so that they could use it for nefarious reasons, right? So anyway, so the QAF, which is the Qatari Armed Forces, owed DSS, the company my husband worked for, that the Royal Brothers are the funding source. They're the backers. They owed him $7 million plus. QAF owed DSS $7+ million. So the QAF started passing the buck and wouldn't pay the $7 million plus that they owed DSS, which is Digital Solar System. So anyway, so that's, there's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on back then. Shredding of documents. The QAF was trying to steal the information, not pay for it. They kept saying, oh yeah, keep helping us. We're going to do another contract, We're going to pay the bill, blah, blah, blah. And then they started passing the buck, and I got some proof of that. So anyway, so that's how the thing started. Well, in the end, the royal brothers, it's the Emir of Qatar, the Al Thani family's brothers, who are backers of the company, they just shut the doors on the company. Even though they owed my husband and the others bonuses, and the contracts ran until December, they just shut the doors. Bam. All of a sudden, in 30 days, bam, shut them. So screwed my husband out of $50,000+ plus 6 months worth of pay, which was let me see, 90. Oh, let me see. So 15 times 6. So 15,000 times 6. So yes, dollars. So anyway, so my husband gets trapped over there because of the financial debt, and I'm trying to dig him out, and it's cost me everything trying to dig him out, and I've still got 40,000 more to go. So as he's trapped over there, then all of a sudden, royal family hires this man to come in and officially shut the company down. It sat there for 2 years, since 2017, while my husband trapped over there, and he finally sent him to supposedly shut it down. And so this man, named Mr. Muhammad, is talking to my husband and telling him he's going to help, he'll help him and all this kind of stuff so he can get out of there and come back to his family and all this other stuff. And then Mr. Muhammad talks to me and asks me to find a man in California by the name of Tariq Fuad. Now, Tariq Fuad was the CEO of DSS and an investor in the company. And they had stiffed him. So he was going to the international courts to sue the QAF for the $7+ million that they owed the company. And so anyway, so then he came back to the U.S. because he lives, well, let's just say he lived in California because he's hiding now. And So they didn't want to pay him. So what the royal family did, and the board of directors that represent the royal family, is they took hush money, which was a couple $1,000,000 from the QAF, which the Al Thani family, the Emir's family, the Al Thani family that rules Qatar, owns. So they paid $2 million in hush money to the directors, which therefore paid their partner with the royal brothers. And so that was $2 million. Meanwhile, there was a U.S.-based government contract company. There were 4 companies in total, 2 U.S.-based and 2 foreign. And one of those companies, which I have proof, they paid a bribe, and I think it was $1.9 million. If I'd have to check my notes to be exact, but they paid $1.9 million to get a big contract with the QAF. So that's what was going on from that perspective. So it's money laundering, basically, is what they're doing. All the hush monies and all this. Well, they didn't pay the CEO, Terry, and stuff. And so he sued from the U.S. He had a lawyer in California. And they sued the QAF, and they sued the company and everything else. Well, this Mr. Muhammad asked me, because they claim they're going to help my husband to get him out of there and bring him home to us, promised me they'd help him if I would go find Mr. Tariq Fuad for them. They didn't tell me that Mr. Tariq Fuad had sued them and had a lawyer. So I'm online Googling, trying to get Tariq's address so I can, locate him, because this Mr. Muhammad that the royal family members hired told me they couldn't get in touch with him. They didn't tell me that he had a lawyer. So anyway, I'm looking for Mr. Fuad, and I find out he's got a lawyer, and I'm researching, and I call the lawyer, and the lawyer tells me that Mr. Fuad's been in the FBI, and the FBI has told him his life's at risk. Mr. Fuad's in hiding, right? And his lawyer tells me not to trust any of the people associated with the royal family or people they've hired. So, because it's dangerous. So I'm stuck in a dilemma. I want to save my husband. I want to save my family, and I need my husband to work, especially now because I'm sick. And then I need him home because he's my husband. And, and I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because if I find Mr. Fuad, they're going to hurt him. Right? Because that's what it comes out to. They want to shut him up. And, so puts you in between a rock and a hard place, really. It's really complex, it's really complicated, and it's scary and stuff. And so this is what's happening to me. So meanwhile, while I'm doing all this research, and I keep doing it even now, I'm finding other people that are dealing with the Al Thani families, family members in business related activities and things. And there's a man by the name of Matthew Pittard, and he sued them. They tried to force him to kill 2 Americans, and I think it was on U.S. soil, if I remember correctly. They held him prisoner. Him and another guy managed to get an American that they were holding prisoner out of the country there. And so they threatened to kill his family and all this kind of thing. Well, he's now suing them. And you got another Matthew. He's an EMT in California. He sued them because they held him prisoner, and I think he had to scale a wall to try to escape. And so that's going on, and he sued them. Well, they broke in his house in California in the last year and raped and beat his fiance half to death. Right? So that's going on. Now we have a man by the name of Mr. Hope from Massachusetts. He's suing them because he witnessed a murder. The Amir's brother's wife, driver, was late picking her up or something. There was some discrepancy in him picking her up. So Mr. Hope witnessed the Amir brother himself beating this man to death and killing him. And then he was drugged. And, there were even some hacking was going on, hacking influential people, a whole lot of stuff going on with the Amir's brother. All the brothers are into dirty. Trust me, money laundering, all that crap. And so that's going on. and that's Matthew Pritchard, and then Matthew that's from California. His situation, he was an EMT. Then you got Mr. Hope, which is the one I'm telling you about now. He's the last one, and then there's a couple others that have, and that's not even counting the fact that the Qataris were funding terrorists over in Israel to kill a bunch of Americans, and there's bunches of lawsuits about that too. So the Qataris are basically trying to use their power and their money to get what they want. And they're also using, holding our family members as prisoner and stuff. So they're doing that. And then we got U.S.-based government contractors paying a bribe so they can be a big gold contract with them. So they can teach them how to, set up command posts for intelligence and, planes and, giving them all these things to hurt us with. Qatar is not our friend. The Qatari royals, they hate us, and they are not our friend. They do not care about us. They're trying to use us. The one Qatari brother, royal family member, brother, colleague, he's been spying on the U.S. And I got some information that Ilhan Omar was the crown jewel for Qatar, and she's spying on us, right? Now, my husband worked intelligence, so you tell me, what am I supposed to believe, from everything I'm learning? So anyway, so this is what's going on here. And, my life is ruined. My husband, I miss my husband terribly. I need my husband. And I love my husband. So I thought by telling you these things, and I have some proof stashed, and I have to be very careful with that proof because, that could harm my husband. But I need help here. And I need you guys to understand, you do not go to Qatar for business. You do not go over there. You do not do any kind of business over there. For whatever given reason, you get on their piss list, or you're become collateral damage, and because of the corruption and the dirty things that they're doing, you're going to end up paying for it. You lose your life, be imprisoned, murdered, left out in the desert dead. You need to understand the true reality of what doing business with the Qatari royal family is all about, or any of the Qataris. They're not trustworthy people, and they are not our friend. They are completely on Iran's side. When we launched that drone that killed the commander of Iran, you remember when that happened? The royal family flew straight over to Iran and gave them a bunch of money. So, they cannot be trusted. I mean, I know that our government, I've been told, just tolerates them because strategically we have that big U.S. base, but there's just, these people have long arms. They have a lot of money, a lot of power, and, and they use people. They're trying to use me to find Tariq Fuad so they could kill him, to shut him up and stop his lawsuit. And claiming they're going to help my husband. You know what? They haven't helped my husband. A few weeks ago, this Mr. Muhammad called my husband. You heard the word phishing? Called him and asked him if he was all right. They're not even friends. There's been 2 incidents, not counting the conversations when I was chatting with him, where, there was actually information exchange about what to do, where to go, and how to help my husband, and about this Tariq food and stuff. There's been no ongoing correspondence of, oh, hi, how are you? How's your family? Oh, I feel so sorry. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to help out here, and all this crap. And it's, there's none of that going on. It's specifically, I need you to find this man and I'll help your husband. And then a few weeks ago, they contacted my husband, asked my husband if he's all right. So my husband's a guy that's military from another country that's helping my husband hide him over there. And I trust him 100%. He doesn't ask any questions, and we keep it need-to-know basis. Very careful situation. But, that's just where it is. And, that's just where we are. So I need you to understand, unless you want to be put in the position I'm in, which I don't think you do, and the other people like Matthew Pittard from Florida, the other Matthew from California, You know, all you have to do is Google Qatari lawsuits. You know, EMT sues Qatari, and then you'll see all that. Because I've talked to Matthew Pitchard, right? Because he still works for government, and you know, so we all know what's going on. We have our own little networky group of people that have become victims of the Qatari royal family's criminal activities. And they don't give a shit if they do them on U.S. soil or if they do them in Qatar or they do them in France or wherever they do them, because they've got diplomatic immunity, so they can get away with bloody murder. Literally. And that's what they're trying to pull. And I know Mr. Hope has pictures of a man by the name of Atat, A-T-A-T, Atat, I guess is how you pronounce it. And that guy murdered somebody in the U.S. And then he's now in Qatar. And Mr. Hope, who's also suing the Qatari royal family, he's got pictures of him in Qatar. Around because the royal family members, you know, especially the one brother Khalib, they're in the big racing circuit. And they try to have people in the racing circuit killed. You know, they try to do all kinds of stuff, actually, this brother does. And he's been spying on the U.S., he's been spying on the UAE, he's been spying on a lot of people. So anyway, so this is my situation. So I have a GoFundMe page, and I need some help to get my husband the hell out of there. Seriously, like now. I've been struggling, and I'm just tapped out. And I'm not even living close to even large. I'm barely functioning. So, so if you email me at apptitude-safety, it's SAFETY at outlook.com. I can send you the link for my GoFundMe page for my husband. And, you know, we just want to get him out. Some friends have tried to help what they can, but it takes a lot of money, and travel's really hard because of the coronavirus and stuff. And I really want my husband to meet his grandson. I've got a new grandbaby that's 1.5 years old now, and my husband, sorry. I'm still tired, sorry. My husband's been trapped over there for 3 years. And I've gone to the embassy, so before you ask, did you contact the embassy? Yes, but it's the British embassy because my husband's British. And there's nothing that they can do because of the political climate. They're not like the U.S. embassy. It's a little different. And even with the U.S. embassy, like I said, Matthew Pitchard and the other Matthew helped that American that they were holding prisoner over there. They helped him escape and get him back to America. And he's an American citizen, and the embassy couldn't do anything for him over there. So that's the situation. And I'm sure you're going to go, well, you should have known better, shouldn't have gone over there. Well, yeah, but at the time, we didn't know the things that we know now about what the royal family is really doing. I mean, there were hints of things, but there was no tangible anything to prove anything. But now it's much more clear what their intentions are, and they're going to use people like me or whoever they can. And we're trying to keep my husband hidden. I want to get him out. So, because of his history, you know, his government stuff, and I want him out anyway. But I don't want them to force me to kill somebody or try to force me to do it. You know, so far I've tried to stay straight up, let the right people know, and, you know, and I just keep struggling. So, and I'm pretty ticked off at the U.S. government contractor company that paid the bribe. They got the big contract. And then you know who you are, and you know I know who you are. So, because one of the things my husband's company did was they vetted the companies that were in the bidding processes. So I know all 4 companies that were in the bids. And I know who did what, and who was associated with the sister company. I know all of it. So, you know, so please help me so I can get my husband out of the hot seat so that I can be a free American who doesn't have to feel like she's being forced to do something that's criminal. I really don't want to. And please don't do any business over there. please heed my warning. Please. I don't care how rich you are, how smart you are. You know, those people, they are just, they have no morals, they have no values, they have no decency about them, you know, and you do any business with them, and A, you're going to get ripped off, and B, you might get dead. So, all right. So I've said what I have to say. These are the facts. This is the reality. Email me, and we can contact each other, and I can direct you to the page, and let's stop this. We are the people of America. Okay, we are America. We don't let anybody, I don't give a crap if you're royal or who you are. The only person in this whole universe that you should ever listen to is God, not anybody else just because they were born under their birthright. And the Qatari royal family was not born under their birthright. They actually pulled some crappy stuff so that the other Qatari family members couldn't take power, couldn't reign the country. Because you know how they have so many family members, right? So many kids and stuff. So they jacked their family member around, and they basically stole the royal, you know, the crown, if you want to call it the crown, from other family members in Qatar that are not actually living in the country. So, and you got to be really careful because they'll collect information, whether you're a royal family member or whatever, and they'll use that sometime in the future to make you do things that are criminal for them. That's just the truth. The honest to God's truth. So, anyway, have a good day. And again, please email me. Please hear this. Please, please, please get this out there. And please help me. I don't care if you give $1 each. If we get enough of us give $1 each, you know, then I'll get enough money to buy him the rest of the way out. So, and I get him out, and then he's safe, and then I can tell the royal Qatari Al-Thani family to stick it up their tutu. And the U.S. government contractor company, you know who you are, you know what you did, and, you know, if I was you, I'd be making it right. So have a good day.